Hello friends, I welcome you to part 2 of this series on the efficiency of the market. In part 1, we had a look at consumer surplus, which was used to measure the benefits consumers get when they participate in the market. In this part, which is part 2, we'll look at producer surplus, which is the benefits producers get when they also participate in the market. Particularly for this lecture, we'll answer two main questions. The first question is, what is producer surplus? The second question is, how is it related to the supply curve? And before we delve into this concept of producer surplus, I want us to look at the relationship between cost and the supply curve, because it's an important component of the producer surplus concept. So we will define cost as the value of everything a seller must give up to produce a good. That is opportunity cost. And cost in this case includes all the cost of all resources used to produce the good, including the value of the seller's time. So let's consider the table below. It contains data on the cost of cutting lawns incurred by 3 different sellers. So you have Angelo, you have Hunter, you have Kitty. Angelo's cost of cutting lawns is $10. Hunter's cost is $20. Kitty's cost is $35. Now, we would realize, or would agree with me, that a seller would only produce it and sell a good if the price exceeds his or her cost. In other words, if he is making a profit. Hence, cost is a measure of willingness to sell. Now, let's attempt to derive the supply schedule from the cost data below. So when the price is below $10, none of the suppliers supply the good because their cost is above the price. Hence, they will make a loss. When the price is below $20, only one person supplies, and that person is Angelo, because his cost is below $20. When the price is below $35, only 2 of the 3 will supply because their cost is below the price, and hence they will make a profit. And when the price is above $35, we realize that all 3 of them would supply because their cost is below the price. Let's attempt to graph this supply schedule. So these steps here represent the supply curve. So when price is below $10, we can see that quantity supplied is 0. When price is below $20, quantity supplied is 1. When price is below $35, quantity supplied is 2. And when price is above $30, quantity supplied is 3. Let's draw some conclusions at this moment. So at each quantity, the height of the supply curve is the cost of the marginal seller, the seller who would leave the market if the price were any lower. And so we can see the cost of the 3 suppliers. So then, what is producer surplus? Producer surplus is defined as the amount a seller is paid for a good minus the seller's cost. And we can express this mathematically as in the equation above. So PS, which represents producer surplus, is equal to the price minus the cost of the item. And so suppose price is $25. Then Angelo's producer surplus is $15 because Angelo produces at a cost of $10. and Angelo will receive $25 if he supplies. And so the difference between the price and the cost is $15. Hunter's producer surplus is $5 because Hunter's cost of production is $20. That subtracted from the price of $25 is $5. And Kitty's producer surplus is 0 because Kitty's cost of production is greater than the price. And so Kitty will not supply and hence earns 0 producer surplus. So the total producer surplus among the three is $20, which is the sum of Angelo's producer surplus and Hunter's producer surplus. So the total producer surplus equals the area above the supply curve under the price from 0 to the quantity. And the area above the supply curve is the blue shaded area you can see in the chart. So let's consider a situation where there are many sellers. We would realize, just like we saw in the consumer surplus example, that the supply curve will no longer look like a stem. It will be a smooth curve. Okay, and so here we are looking at the supply of shoes. The x-axis represents the quantity supplied measured in thousands of pairs of shoes, and the vertical axis represents the price per pair of shoe. So suppose price is $40. At quantity is equal to 15,000, the marginal seller's cost can be traced as $30, and hence the producer surplus is $10. Now, producer surplus is the area between price and the supply curve from 0 to the quantity. And on the graph, you can see it as the triangle shaded in pink. And it is effectively, or producer surplus is effectively the area of this triangle. Okay, so to be able to compute the area of a triangle, we need to know the height of the triangle and the base of the triangle. The base of the triangle is represented on this chart as the quantity supplied, which is given as 25. And the height of the triangle is the difference between the price and the cost. Okay, so here the height of the triangle is given as the difference between $40 and $15, which is $25. And so if the base is $25 and the height is $25, then the triangle, the area of the triangle can be measured by multiplying half times the base times the height, which is effectively $312.5. So if price falls to $30, what happens to producer surplus? We would realize that the suppliers will receive a lower price, and hence their producer surplus will fall. And as we can see, if the cost is 15 and the price is $30, then the height is no longer $25. The height is now $15, and the quantity reduces to 15. And so the producer surplus is also reduced to $112.5. And there are two reasons for the fall in producer surplus. The first one is that there's a fall in producer surplus due to some of the sellers leaving the market, and it is shown by this small triangle that is shaded in blue stripes. The second reason is that there's a fall in producer surplus due to the remaining sellers getting a lower price. And that is also because their producer surplus drops. Now let's consider this active learning example. We are required to find the marginal seller's cost when quantity is 10. And secondly, we are required to find producer surplus when the price is 20. And then suppose price rises to $30, we are required to find the increase in producer surplus due to One, selling 5 additional units and getting a higher price on the initial 10 units. Let's consider the answers. So when quantity is 10, we can trace the marginal cost by drawing a line upwards to meet the supply curve and reading the corresponding price on the vertical axis. And we can see that the marginal cost associated with quantity of 10 is $20. And the corresponding producer surplus, when the price is $20, is $100. And we can see that it is the area of this triangle shaded orange. And the base is the quantity supplied, which is 10, and the height is the price of 20. So half times 10 times 20 is equal to $100. Now, when price rises to $30, we can see that quantity increases from 10 to 15. So there's an additional 5 supplied. Now, the producer surplus on this additional 5 units is $25. So the base of this additional 5 supplied is 5, and the height of the triangle, as we can see, is the difference between 30, which is a new price, and the initial price of 20, which is 10. So half times 5 times 10 is equal to $25. And then there will be an increase in producer surplus on the initial 10 units. It is represented by the area shaded green, and this is a rectangle. So the area of this rectangle is the length times the breadth. And the length of this area is the difference between the initial price, the current price of $30 and the initial price of 20, which is $10. And the breadth is the initial quantity supplied, which is 10. So 10 times 10 is $100. So at this point, we have seen the concept of producer surplus. And as we said initially, the producer surplus helps us to measure the benefits producers get when they participate in the market. Now, watch out for part 3 of this series. In part 3, we would attempt to bring together the two concepts of consumer surplus and producer surplus into a new concept called the total surplus, which is used in measuring the efficiency of the market. Thank you for watching.